Welcome back to The Hero Who Was Banished from His Party, Anime Review, Episode number 2. We'll review episodes 3 and 4 of the anime. Also with this one, I'm halfway through the episodes that have been released. And I saw on the calendar yesterday that it gets released on Sundays. Like, okay. Well, I don't have to worry about it, well, probably. It could be coming out, basically, but I might have to move it due to the fact I have a lot of anime coming out, basically. So I'm thinking for now, for the remaining few weeks, I think I'm reviewing this on, because I feel like I have a day off on, I could probably do it, well, next month, basically, aside from one night, I'm able to do it basically with no problem. I think I'll just move this to probably Tuesday when I get this caught up. Yes. So, in these two episodes, Roos and Nishia have to come back from another quest in the labyrinth, and they apparently are told, "Oh yeah, you have enough to rent yourself a private house for your base operations." And Roos has pointed out that the Blades of Lightning Party did have their own private house, and once again, basically, Magnus, that's the guy who's leading the group, once again he sends out basically to, well, go and deal with the Hydra, and it turns out really badly, to the point where he's bruised, and he's bruised, and he figures why did Roos quit the party? And Sabrina points out, though, you fired him. He's like, oh, that's what happened. Yeah, he completely forgot the fact he fired basically a member of his own party with a hot lady like Lyra. So basically, just by sheer coincidence, he just happens to run into, well, Roos. Now, in case you're curious though, have I seen this before where the guy who does the firing kind of almost begs to come back to the party, ask him back to the party. And of course, he says no. This, believe it or not, has actually happened all three anime. This is actually the third time this has happened. In the previous two anime I had watched where the character was banished from the party. Well, and then of course after a little while they're offered to rejoin back up, and they say no. In the case of the first one, because he's got a business. Second, because he's perfectly fine with his own party if you feel with a lot of beautiful ladies. This one in particular, he just doesn't retire to, and he does tell me he has no grudge against him personally or as a party, but if you dare harm her, you have a problem. Yep. So he was just grabbing him, wasn't punching him, just telling him basically hands off, and they decide to leave and go through another labyrinth. Meanwhile, the other group decides to once again go to deal with the Hydra. But before that, the new warrior and Sig pops up, this black armored adventurer with this mysterious sword in his back, which they later reveal it's a magical sword that was basically given to him by his mentor. Especially when Lyra sees basically calls him by his, well, what was actually revealed to be his actual name. He denies it, that's actually his name, even though it actually is. She knew right away this was him. So, you still Ronaldo? Who's Ronaldo? He's denying it. And so, basically, they go and deal with the Hydra. And things are going too well, to a point where, he does pretty well against the Hydra, and of course, right jump ahead, because basically, because you lead the party, you should get the credit for being the Hydra Slayer. And I go ooh, cool, I get a cool title, I love that. And he doesn't do too well, and then, almost gets wounded thanks to the Hydra a rock at her gut. Yes, threw a rock at her. Not a small one, like a boulder. And looking up, basically, Lyra, she tries. And Anisha basically just going to wetlands, presumably because she's worried about, basically, because it was a real part of this, that Lyra and Amina had visited him to request him to return back to the party. Of course, he told him no. And why can't she quit the party, Lyra, too? Because of Amina. That's the reason why. This young girl who she basically treats a lot like a friend. And she's a friend of, she basically is a friend of hers, treats her like an actual friend. and she doesn't want to abandon her, which don't blame her. So, and of course also because the owner of the tavern, her name is Mary, notices that, well, this young girl is hungry. Look, she looks pretty thin, and then she gives her a whole bunch of food, apparently for free. They barely don't offer any money for it, and she eats up, and she had a healthy appetite. Probably because she hasn't eaten in a while. That's part of the reason why she looks so weak. So then eventually, of course, basically the whole thing happens. Episode 4, where like they arrive and they battle it for a while. Luz gets knocked down after, of course, and Zia gets knocked down. And then, before this happened, after he gets the knockdown, she, basically, the Hydra basically just absorbs the fear in the area. And Magnus has no idea what the heck is going on. Sabrina herself doesn't have no idea what's going on. Lyra knows. And so is Seg. Yeah, these two both know because they actually did research. And it's powerful. And the two heads that were previously chopped off, they're back on. And they get mutated. And, of course, Lau shows up to help them with Nasia. And things go badly for them. And when he's down, he's like about to grab it. All of a sudden, this blue energy. And it looks like his mentor. Les's mentor, one of many ways, basically. Perhaps you like stay away, and then he just covers himself in blue flame, and then a horn grows out of his head, his eye turns red, and then he proceeds to vaporize the Hydra, leaving this big, huge crystal. Like, we'll get a lot of money for this. And like he thinks it's with Sabrina, and did it with Laos. Oh, but the other three, they get stuff done because they were useless. And heck, he was even talking of basically selling Amina into slavery. Possibly selling to a perverted aristocrat. So Stig, not saying it for this, reveals that he's actually a representative for the guild and basically arrests him on the spot for it. But for this, Nasia proceeds to punch him in the face. Like, Amber's like, I didn't say anything. He's like, yeah, she saw something, but no one else did. But basically, their attempt of their conspiracy to commit human trafficking, that's a serious charge. They're brought back to guild. So basically, let's convince Stag just let him leave town, banish him from town, because there was adventures, but they're on fame and fortune. He's like, okay, go. I don't want to see you two ever again. And so basically, he decides to stay in the city. So Lyra requests Lyra to form a party with him. She's like, in exchange, she gets to come along too. And Stig's like, that's fine. I have no issue with that. And you have to be part of the party. Meanwhile, though, basically, like in the case of the Air 2, everything's all happy. Everything's all good there. And that's basically 2 episodes in a nutshell. I think I gotta admit the whole thing of going back to something that they previously were trying to beat. This is actually something I kind of seen before in Afria toward the end of season 1 for the show. When they did do this again, when they go back to a labyrinth, they try to beat it again, despite the fact that Hydra already beat this damn labyrinth already. They don't know that. So it's a similar idea per se, but it's not exactly a carbon copy scene per se. Well, like in the case of the asking the first expansion. But here's something interesting. The guy's basically dragged out of town by the 4th episode. He's not here for the whole frickin' season being a jerk about it. Yeah. But there's that. Aside from the whole thing of like, by the way, the whole thing of like the party turning against basically the leader and like one other person, like this did technically happen in Beast Chamber, but didn't happen in the anime. It happened later on in the manga in the light novel, which that didn't happen yet in the anime because the anime didn't go that far. But at least something I've seen before, but in later stuff per se, not in the first season of the show. By the way, the whole thing of like the leader part wearing this big golden armor, like the only other anime I've seen that in, now I'm thinking the Beast Hammer, not really, no. He didn't necessarily wear this big hunky armor that he wears in this one. The only anime I can think of where a leader party wears this damn thing of the banishment parties. I would say this also happened in a Freya as well, except that I was basically a good character. At first, he was being a jerk about it. Eventually, he's able to soften out. And the way it was written in the book, that which they cut from the anime, he tried to challenge Hydra to a duel, which of course he lost, because Hydra basically just used non-lethal force on him because, well, he knew that this girl who was basically nice to him was in love with him, and because this guy was her childhood friend, that if he killed him, she would have been happy. But she let him live because of her. But he able to survive, no problem. But that's basically the bit series of that one. But one with spikes on it. That I think Ares did wear that in Banished to Hero Party, except he was a sage, not a hero per se or lead party. He was not the leader. He was. I'm not sure what his role was in the group. Basically, he was not the leader, but his group role was sage. Ruti was the leader of the party, not him. But apparently, he couldn't make it. She could make decisions about it because it's her brother. That's why he banished him. But at least gotta admit, basically, like in the case of this one, unlike in the case of Base Tamer, where a lot of the party are not very nice people. This one, only like 2 are, not the whole party, like a Base Tamer, which I gotta admit, that's actually different, which good on basically the anime for doing that. And like I said, right now I'm halfway through the release episodes. I have 4 more left to go, and then I'm done. Yep. But yeah, that's pretty much a particular view. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications, and do this like button. Well, next up is a comic corner, and then basically I'm gonna go out, come and probably work on the next. Probably come back and work on the next couple episodes for the series, and maybe I get time to do 2 more afterwards. Who knows? Okay, but the next video. Bye.